Arkham originally set out on a very important mission, which is to try and tackle the problem of pseudonymous addresses. So, oftentimes, it's incredibly difficult to understand who you're actually interacting with on chain. It's very difficult to know what those people are up to, what they're using your particular tokens for, or different cryptocurrencies for, and therefore trying to understand more about your target demographic as a protocol or as a project. So oftentimes investors would actually use some of the kinds of data that you can see on the screen now, such as asset fundamentals, price data, and now, thankfully, with cryptocurrencies, there's significantly more transparency around transaction data. So, who are the actual entities conducting particular transactions? All of the information surrounding it. Are they insiders? Are they investors? Are they advisors to the project? And all this information is incredibly useful for people to understand more about what's actually going on within a particular blockchain ecosystem. So, with the public launch of our intelligence platform back in July of 2022, we were able to provide cryptocurrency users with significantly more information around who the people behind blockchain wallets are, pseudonymous or not. So, we launched our private beta in August of 2022. Afterwards, we added Polygon, BNB chain, and a number of other different chains that people have been using. We've added significantly more information, not just around the entities using these different blockchains, but actually, in fact, the tokens as well. And then most recently, we've launched our Intel Exchange as well as an Oracle project that allows people to actually understand these entities and be able to query the information significantly more easily. And then finally, we launched an API pilot and added Base. However, there's still a challenge. All of the information that we have within Arkham actually exists off-chain within our database. And so, as people in the cryptocurrency industry, many people want to actually be able to query this information in a decentralized way without necessarily directly needing to interact with our off-chain database. So how are we planning to do this? We've now found a solution. So today, I'm pleased to announce Arkham's partnership with Chainlink, which will help to bring Arkham data on-chain for everyone to be able to use in a decentralized programmatic way. So the way in which we're planning to actually use Chainlink in order to have the end consumer be able to use our data more efficiently is we're planning to use Chainlink Functions. So utilizing Chainlink Functions, we are now able to provide information to Chainlink Dons, the decentralized Oracle networks, that then can query our API directly, in particular our labeling endpoint, to receive information about who the entities behind particular blockchain wallets are, to then provide this info in a decentralized way to the end users. So essentially what this means is, if you're a token project, if you're a protocol, and you want to be able to access information about counterparties or your users or people in the blockchain industry as a whole, using Arkham, you will now be able to reference these entities using their real-world attribution. So this means actually being able to, in a programmatic way in your code, using these Chainlink functions, be able to state that whenever a particular person or a particular entity takes an action, then the smart contracts can behave in a particular way. This is as opposed to, for example, labeling it as an address. Typically speaking, within a decentralized network or a particular protocol or smart contract, you would need to, reference a given address. But what if this person changes addresses? What if the entities that you're interacting with for your protocol actually then very dynamically are beginning to change their addresses, and therefore, if you're looking to do risk management or take particular actions, now, the smart contract doesn't know, can't differentiate one address from another. But our job at Arkham is actually to connect all of the different addresses and tie them back to the individual or the company's attribution, right? And so you can actually now, using these Chainlink functions, directly query using our database for the entity or individuals that you're looking to particularly target, rather than necessarily focusing on the addresses themselves. So let's go through some of the use cases for why it would be important to actually be able to access these things in a decentralized way, or allow smart contracts to access our off-chain data. So number one of the use cases can be to analyze who are the most active real-world users of your protocol. So imagine that you are a protocol focusing on lending or borrowing, for example. These are the kinds of things where if somebody is making up a very large portion of your TPL or of your staking product or something similar, you may want to be able to identify who that person is in order to market to them or to understand more of their behavior outside of your particular project. So perhaps there's more assets that could move to your particular protocol that are currently being staked or held on other networks as well. You may want to understand, okay, this address is actually owned by the same person who also owns all of the assets on these other protocols. Next, it'll help you to actually identify the real-world counterparties. So this actually allows you to understand significantly more about the amount of risk that you're taking. So if somebody has a particular amount of on-chain health, but you only understand something about a couple of their addresses, but they have hundreds, it can be incredibly difficult to actually then respond in something that would be, EV positive in these sorts of situations, unless you have a really dynamic overall holistic picture of their entire positions across the entire chain, potentially even on other blockchains. This is the kind of thing that Arkham is helping to bridge. Calculating and distributing rewards to users with multiple addresses. This is a really big problem in crypto, in particular for projects that are looking to, for example, have an airdrop. And so oftentimes there are these things called Sybil attacks. So if your project actually is intending to airdrop a large number of users, oftentimes one of the things that you need to tackle is potentially there's the same person who is creating multiple addresses in order to make it seem like they are different people, and then as such they can receive multiple airdrop rewards, right? And so what projects like Arkham can do is, given that we have the heuristics and the technology to identify who the people behind addresses are, we could actually then connect all of the independent addresses that are intending to Sybil your network, and then given that they are the same person, then we could refer your airdrop contract to only airdrop one of the addresses that belong to one of those individuals, as opposed to airdropping all of them, therefore countering the Sybil attack. So what are the things that are to come next? Number one, we're intending to have a full public announcement. This is the first time that anybody's heard of us actually doing a partnership with Chainlink. So that is going to happen the week of October 8th. Afterwards, we're going to go live and release a set of technical documentation, which we're aiming to do by the end of October, in order to allow developers and people who actually creating smart contracts to use these different Chainlink functions and to better understand how to use Arkham using the Chainlink DONs in order to get access to this information in a decentralized way. And then our last initiative is actually focusing on supporting innovative implementations with key partners. So obviously, we are able to release the technology, but potentially don't even know of all of the use cases that could be had for using real-world entity information that currently exists off-chain and bringing it on-chain. So we're looking for more and more projects, protocols, networks to come on and be able to, help us figure out what are the best use cases for this, and actually creating new types of innovation to be able to use and query our system for the most beneficial way for the cryptocurrency ecosystem in general. And that's everything.